All right, good morning, class. For this time when you're watching this lecture, we went over World War I. For those of you who are absent, this lecture does not serve as a full purpose of you missing class. However, you can get your notes from other students. Also, this will be really good to review before your quiz on Friday. So let's just jump right into it. In class, we started on talking about World War I, and we started with our bell ringer. Our bell ringer opened up for warm-up questions, and we kind of talked about the roles of women, children, and minority groups in World War I. As far as women go, the main thing you need to know for the test is that although women did not have many rights before World War I, after World War I, women's rights, that was really kind of the pushing force for women, since they stepped up into factories and took a lot of men's jobs while men were fighting overseas for the specific war. Something you need to know about children for the quiz, this is very important, is that they sold war bonds. Also, a lot of children lied about their age to fight in this war. And then minority groups fought for World War I. That's something very important to remember, because I know as we talk about segregation is still happening, but minority groups were still fighting for our country. However, they fought in separate units than the American soldiers. And so that kind of goes over our intro and our warm-up for class. All right, also we went over 3 different definitions. Or more like 4. When you're thinking about World War I want you to think about the acronym MAIN: militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism. All 4 of these factors played a huge part in World War I. For starters, imperialism was something that really happened in Africa. A lot of imperialist rivalries were big factors, and basically countries fought for foreign colonies. Something that you really need to know about militarism is during this World War I, it was kind of an arms race. Everyone wanted different weapons. In fact, during this war, this is something important for the quiz, Germany this is where a lot of their war for weapons such as toxic gas, different stuff, submarines, all this kind of became developed in this war. With that being said, this reminds me, our Kahoot I listed at the end of the PowerPoint. It's just a review Kahoot, but it's very important. Some of our test questions are taken from that Kahoot. So please make sure that if you've not already done that you'll do that right now. Also, back to our acronym. So we did militarism, we talked about imperialism, we skipped alliances. Alliances. During this World War I, 2 different alliances were formed. This is kind of when things really started to split off, and so it's very important that you know what those alliances were and who were part of each alliance. Also, now that we skipped A and we're on nationalism. Nationalism, it was a place where countries wanted to prove their might. Nationalism, each country kind of wanted to show who was the boss. And so overtaking Europe played a huge part in this war. In fact, I need you to remember the sentence, the nationalism overtaking Europe played a big part in the road to World War I. This will be a test question. This is important to know. Also, people wanted to break away. People wanted to come together. And I'm not going to give you all the answers, because if you miss class, unless you're not excused, you need to look it up for yourself. But if you go over our Kahoot, I did cover this as well, and I included a crash course lecture in this PowerPoint. And so everything that you need to know was discussed in the lecture. They're discussed in your notes. You're prepared for the test. If you have any questions, feel free to email me.